we open on a chapter of unimaginable grief. The news sent shockwaves through the community, through the fanbase, through anyone who has ever followed the saga of the Duggars. Josie Duggar has passed away. The youngest of the famed 19 kids and counting, the miracle child who fought so bravely after a premature birth, whose face became a symbol of the family's resilience and faith, is gone. The details are scarce, the family's statement brief, wrapped in the familiar language of prayer and trusting God's plan. An outpouring of condolences floods social media. Hashtags trend. The world mourns the loss of an innocent life, cut tragically short. It's a moment of collective heartbreak. A sad, but true, reality. But, and there is always a but in stories this layered, in the shadow of this devastating loss, another story begins to stir. A story not of an ending, but of a shocking beginning. A narrative so explosive, it threatens to unravel the tightly knit fabric of the Duggar clan from the inside out. This is where our documentary takes a turn you won't see on primetime television. Because Josie's passing, in its tragic finality, became the unlikely key that unlocked a vault of secrets long considered buried. In the days following the funeral, as the family retreated into their private circle of mourning, whispers started to emerge. Not from tabloids, but from the periphery, from old family acquaintances, from former church members who had long since drifted away, from digital footprints everyone thought had been erased. A pattern began to form. A pattern pointing not just to a loss, but to a revelation. The phrase started circulating in hushed, disbelieving tones: "Scandal unveiled, Anna Duggar's forbidden love." Think about that for a moment. Anna. The picture of steadfast loyalty. The wife who stood by Josh Duggar's side through every scandal, every indictment, every shameful headline. The woman praised for her unwavering commitment, her forgiveness, her strength in the face of her husband's very public failings. What could possibly connect her to a forbidden love? It sounds like the plot of a daytime drama. But the sources, the timelines, the fragments of evidence we've begun to piece together, suggest something far more complex and human than the simple saint or sinner narrative we've been sold. To understand this, we must rewind. We must look at Anna not as a supporting character in Josh's saga, but as her own person. A young woman married into a colossal, overwhelming family dynasty at a very young age. A woman whose life instantly became public property, whose every choice was scrutinized, whose identity became Josh's wife and then the mother of his children. Where was Anna in all of this? What were her dreams, her fears, her moments of quiet desperation that never made it to the camera? The pressure within that family structure is something very few of us can comprehend. The expectations are biblical, the scrutiny is global, and the margin for personal error is zero. Now, introduce another element. A figure from the past. Not a celebrity, but perhaps someone from before the fame. Someone who knew Anna not as Anna Duggar, but simply as Anna. A childhood friend? A connection from her very life before the Duggars? Our investigation suggests this individual re-entered the picture during one of the family's most tumultuous periods, amidst Josh's very public legal battles. In a time when Anna's world was collapsing into a nightmare of court documents and public humiliation, this person offered something simple: a listening ear. A connection to a time before the chaos. A reminder of a self that existed outside of the scandal. What started as innocent support, as a gesture of kindness during a hurricane of disgrace, allegedly, evolved. The conversations grew longer. The empathy deepened. In the stark, cold reality of her marital life, this friendship became a sanctuary. A place where Anna wasn't judged, wasn't pitted, but was simply heard. Can we, for a moment, consider the humanity in that? The profound, soul-saving power of being seen as a person, not a headline? This is where the lines blur. This is where support whispers the dangerous language of connection. But in the world of the Duggars, any connection outside the strictly sanctioned boundaries is forbidden. Any emotional intimacy not funneled through the family or the church is viewed with extreme suspicion. An attachment to someone who is not your spouse, regardless of the circumstances, is a dangerous path. And if that attachment formed while you were legally bound to someone else, especially someone as infamous as Josh Duggar, it becomes the ultimate taboo. A forbidden love, indeed. Our sources indicate that this relationship, whatever its true nature, whether a deep emotional affair or something more, was discovered. Not by the media, but by someone within the family's inner circle. And the timing of this discovery is crucial. It reportedly occurred in the fraught, emotionally charged period surrounding Josie's declining health. The family was preparing for one kind of loss, while simultaneously scrambling to contain another, a scandal that could make Josh's crimes seem like just the tip of a very dark iceberg. This is the nexus of our story. The intersection of profound grief and explosive secret. Did the stress of the impending loss lead to a lapse in caution? Did the need for comfort override the strict protocols of secrecy? Was the forbidden connection a desperate attempt to find solace in a world offering none? The pieces of correspondence we've been shown, carefully redacted to protect identities, point to a relationship of intense emotional significance. Phrases like "you're my only piece," "I remember who I am when I talk to you," and "this is the hardest secret to keep" paint a picture of a woman trapped between duty and desire, between public image and private survival. Then, Josie passes. The family is plunged into raw, all-consuming mourning. The scandal, for a moment, is frozen. The individual connected to Anna is, according to our information, quietly but firmly pushed to the outermost edges. There are mentions of ministering, of accountability partners, of a sudden and increased presence of certain elder family members around Anna. It's a lockdown. A containment strategy executed under the cover of bereavement. But secrets, especially ones this charged, have a way of bleeding through the walls. The individual on the other side of this equation is not part of the Duggar ecosystem. They are an outsider, with no loyalty to the family's PR machine. And they are, by all accounts, heartbroken and angry. Angry at being cut off, angry at seeing someone they care for placed in what they perceive as emotional quarantine, and angry at the monumental hypocrisy of it all. This is the powder keg. This is where our documentary reaches its current, live-wire moment. Because the information we've presented to you tonight is not the end. It is barely the beginning. We have only scratched the surface of a story that delves into the heart of one of the most controlled narratives in modern American culture. We have names we cannot yet say. We have documents we are still verifying. We have a timeline of clandestine meetings and encrypted communications that tells a story starkly at odds with the pious image projected to the world. The question now is, what happens next? Does the family continue its lockdown, hoping grief will overshadow everything else? Does the outsider decide to tell their story publicly, breaking the silence for good? What does Anna do, standing in the eye of this storm, mourning a child while potentially grappling with the loss of her only source of personal solace? And what of the other Duggar siblings? How many of them know? How many are complicit in the cover-up, believing they are protecting the family, and how many are silently screaming inside at the toxic web of secrets? This story is about more than gossip. It's about the immense, often crushing, pressure of life inside a gilded cage. It's about what happens when the script written for you becomes unbearable. It's about the human need for love and understanding, even when it defies every rule you've been taught. The passing of Josie Duggar is a real, poignant tragedy. But the scandal now slowly unfurling around Anna Duggar is a different kind of tragedy, one of stifled identity, forbidden choices, and the catastrophic cost of maintaining an illusion. We are committed to following this story wherever it leads. We will be dogged, we will be fair, and we will be respectful of the real grief at its center. But we will also be unflinching in our pursuit of the truth. Because the audience deserves to know. Because the facade needs to be examined. And because, sometimes, the most powerful stories are the ones told in whispers, just before they roar. And this is where we must pause. For now. The threads of this investigation are actively being pulled. New information is coming to light as we speak. The next chapter of this saga is being written behind closed doors in Arkansas, in private messages we are only just beginning to decipher, and in the heart of a woman whose true story has never been told. This is not the end. Far from it. This is the opening act of a revelation that will redefine the Duggar family forever. So, what do you do now? You stay with us. You hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Because when this story breaks wide open, and it will, you will hear it here first, with full context, deep investigation, and a commitment to the facts. We are diving deeper than anyone else has dared. We are talking to sources no one else can reach. The next video will connect the dots we can only hint at today. It will feature evidence, analysis, and stunning new developments. Do not miss it. Your subscription is what allows us to continue this critical work. Give us a thumbs up if you believe in uncovering the whole truth. Comment below with your thoughts on this tragic and complex situation. Let's have a respectful but real discussion. Share this video to spread awareness that there is always more to the story than what appears on the surface. The curtain has been pulled back just a crack. The light is shining in. And in that light, the shadows are beginning to move. Welcome, investigators, truth seekers, and documentary fans. I'm your host. And you've just entered the vault of unsolved mysteries and tangled truths. Before we go any further, if you're fascinated by stories where reality is stranger than fiction, where family loyalty battles with justice, make sure your seatbelt is fastened. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because what we uncover today is just the beginning of a much larger, unexplored narrative. This isn't a conclusion, this is an opening chapter. The question haunting forums, social media threads, and tabloid headlines is brutal in its simplicity. Did Anna Duggar turn informant? The claim is explosive, that Anna, the steadfast wife who stood by Josh Duggar through his very public scandals, trials, and convictions, might have reached a breaking point so profound that she agreed to wear a wire, secretly recording her own husband for law enforcement. Let's be clear from the outset. As of the recording of this documentary, there is zero confirmed, official evidence, no court documents, no law enforcement statements, no credible leaks, to substantiate this claim. It exists purely in the realm of rumor, speculation, and anonymous online sources. Josh Duggar was convicted in December 2021 on charges of receiving and possessing child sexual abuse material. His appeals are ongoing. Anna Duggar has remained, publicly, a supportive spouse, visiting him in prison and maintaining the family. The trial relied on digital forensic evidence, not secret recordings from a spouse. So, why won't this rumor die? Why does it persist with such eerie tenacity, growing in detail and conviction with each passing month? That's the real story we're exploring today. This isn't a story about a confirmed event. This is a story about a story. A modern myth in the making. A tale that speaks to our deepest fascinations with secrecy, betrayal, and the hidden cracks in a carefully constructed public image. To understand the power of this rumor, we must first understand the landscape it was born into. The Duggar family rose to fame with their reality TV show, presenting an image of conservative, Christian values, modesty, and tight-knit familial loyalty. Their brand was built on unity. Then came the avalanches. First, the revelations about Josh's past misconduct as a teenager. Then, the Ashley Madison infidelity scandal. And finally, the arrest and trial for the possession of illicit material. Each event tested the family's public stance and Anna's much scrutinized decision to stay. Public perception of Anna has always been polarized. To some, she is a victim, trapped by her upbringing and beliefs in a cycle of forgiveness and submission. To others, she is an enabler, choosing blind loyalty over moral protection. This dichotomy creates a fertile ground for explosive narratives. The idea of her snitching is so compelling precisely because it bridges these two views. It transforms her from a passive figure into an active, albeit hidden, agent of justice. It's the ultimate plot twist, the quiet wife becoming the secret weapon. The rumor seems to have originated in the murky depths of online discussion boards dedicated to dissecting the family. Anonymous posters, claiming insider knowledge or connections to the legal proceedings in Arkansas, began dropping cryptic hints. Wait until the audio comes out, one might say. The feds had an insider wearing a wire, and it wasn't who you'd expect, claimed another. These fragments, devoid of names but heavy with implication, were picked up by commentary YouTube channels and gossip blogs. Through repetition, the unnamed insider became, by popular deduction, Anna. The proposed logic of the rumor often follows this pattern. The federal case against Josh was remarkably solid for a digital evidence case. Speculators ask, did they have something more? Could a recorded conversation, perhaps confirming his activities or state of mind, have been the ace up the prosecution's sleeve? And who, in his inner circle, would have the access and the motive to finally bring him down? The finger, in the realm of theory, points at the person sharing his home and life. But let's pause and inject the cold water of legal reality. First, obtaining consent from a spouse to wiretap another spouse is an extraordinarily delicate legal maneuver, fraught with ethical and marital privilege complications. Second, there has been no mention of any such recording in court filings, which would be a crucial piece of evidence. The prosecution's case was built on computer logins, file downloads, and passwords, a digital paper trail. Third, if such a risky operation had been undertaken and succeeded, it's highly unlikely it would remain a secret known only to internet sleuths after a conviction. Yet, the rumor evolves. New details emerge. Some versions claim it happened in the weeks leading to his arrest, as the net was closing. Others suggest it was earlier, during the initial Homeland Security investigation's raid on his car lot. There are even narratives that paint it as a desperate deal struck by Anna to secure leniency for herself or to guarantee custody of her children. Each iteration is more cinematic than the last, blending true crime tropes with soap opera drama. This brings us to the psychological engine driving this myth, the public's craving for narrative justice. Josh Duggar's crimes, given the family's moralizing public stance, created a profound dissonance. The legal justice system delivered its verdict. But for many observers, that felt insufficient. There was a hunger for a more poetic, dramatic form of comeuppance, one that involved the ultimate betrayal from within the fortress of his own family. The rumor of Anna wearing a wire satisfies that hunger. It provides a hidden story of courage and reckoning, a secret victory for good in the private sphere to match the public one in court. Furthermore, it reframes Anna's silence. Her public quietness, often interpreted as complicity or weakness, can be reimagined as the necessary silence of someone who has played a dangerous game and won. It turns her from an object of pity or scorn into a potential, clandestine hero. Whether true or not, the rumor itself is an attempt by the public to rewrite a story that left them deeply unsatisfied with the role of a key character. But what about the sources? Who are these anonymous voices, and what might their motives be? This is where our investigation branches into shadowy possibilities. Could they be simply trolls, fabricating drama for attention and clicks in a community ravenous for Duggar content? Entirely possible. Could they be individuals with tangential connections to the case, perhaps former associates, disillusioned family friends, or even fake accounts, seeding misinformation out of spite or a twisted sense of entertainment? Also possible. There's a darker, more speculative branch. Could the rumor itself be a form of psychological warfare? Aimed not at Josh, who is already imprisoned, but at Anna and the Duggar family? To plant seeds of paranoia and distrust within an already fractured dynamic? To punish Anna for staying, by creating a myth that would infuriate the family's loyalist base against her? In the high-stakes, low-ethics world of online fandom and anti-fandom, such tactics are not unheard of. The rumor is a weaponizable narrative. We must also consider the role of the media ecosystem. YouTube channels, blogs, and social media accounts dedicated to family drama have a voracious appetite for content. A slow news day in the Duggarverse can be jump-started by a provocative what-if video. The Anna wire theory is the perfect evergreen topic. It's unprovable, shocking, and drives immense engagement in the comments as people debate its plausibility. The rumor is not just a story, it's a business model for content creators. Each new video analyzing it gives it more oxygen, cementing it further in the collective consciousness, regardless of its truth. So, where does this leave us? With more questions than answers, and a narrative that is very much alive. Has Anna Duggar ever spoken to authorities? It's not impossible, many spouses in such situations are interviewed. But the leap from a voluntary interview to donning a wire is a chasm, legally and practically. Did law enforcement ever consider it? Without confirmation, we are in the realm of spy novels, not documented fact. The persistence of this claim tells us far more about us, the audience, the commentators, the public, than it does about Anna or Josh Duggar. It reveals our desire for hidden truths, for cleaner moral resolutions, and for the underdog to have a secret power. It shows how, in the digital age, a narrative can be born, nurtured, and sustained entirely on the fuel of speculation and desire, detached from the bedrock of verified fact. And this is precisely where our documentary must, for now, pause. Not end, pause. Because this story is not static. Josh Duggar's appeals process continues. New legal filings could, in theory, reveal unexpected facets of the investigation, though such a revelation is considered unlikely by legal experts. The family's story continues to unfold. Anna's own life path is still being written. Every few months, a new post, a new video, a new source breathes fresh life into the rumor, adding another layer to the legend. This is the nature of modern mysteries. They don't conclude with a neat ribbon at the end of a 1-hour special. They sprawl, mutate, and live online. Our investigation, therefore, is ongoing. We will be monitoring court dockets, sifting through credible journalism, and yes, watching the whisper networks, not to spread rumors, but to understand the powerful currents of narrative they represent. And this is where you, the audience, become part of the documentary. Not by spreading unsubstantiated claims, but by practicing critical thinking. The next time you see a shocking headline about this case or any other, ask yourself, what is the primary source? Is this based on a document, a named official, or an anonymous forum post? What agenda might the person spreading this information have? Separating the signal from the noise is the most crucial skill in the information age. The question, did Anna Duggar wear a wire, may never be definitively answered in the public sphere. But the saga of the question itself, its birth, its life, and its undeniable impact on the perception of this ongoing family tragedy, is a complete, fascinating story in its own right. It's a case study in how 21st century folklore is born. If you're hooked on this deep dive into the intersection of crime, media, and modern mythmaking, your next step is crucial. Help us build a community dedicated to unraveling truths, not just spreading tales. Smash that like button, it tells the algorithm this is the kind of thoughtful content you want to see. Subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell. Why? Because this is an ongoing series. Our next documentary installment is already in production. We'll be examining another persistent rumor surrounding a different high-profile case, tracing its digital footprints back to the source. You won't want to miss it. By subscribing, you're not just watching a video, you're joining an investigation. Furthermore, in the spirit of responsible exploration, I want to hear from you in the comments. Using respectful and thoughtful language, what are your theories on why certain rumors take hold and become unstoppable? Have you seen similar patterns in other celebrity or true crime cases? Let's have a substantive discussion below. Remember to keep it civil and based on observable patterns, not harmful speculation about individuals. The vault of mysteries is deep, and we've only just turned on the light. The story continues. The search for truth is never ending. I'm your host, your channel name / your alias, and I'll see you in the next episode, where we pull on another thread and see what unravels.